Possibly the only good thing Warhammer 40k fans have gotten in years, the Henry Cavill TV show, ignoring Space Marine 2 at this point, is probably cancelled at this point. Isn't it great to be a fan of something and watch everything around you burn?
We are going to talk about the first actual update on Henry Cavill's Warhammer series in a long while, that seems to confirm that Amazon's live action show might actually be done officially. Also, how the developers of Space Marine 2, in a discussion with IGN, blasted current day Western developers as a bunch of foolish morons and criticized their
Well, I'm pretty sure they are, so that's not really hard.
pathetic attempts to chase every trend that comes along, even if it goes against the player base. First off, the new reports on Henry Cavill and Warhammer 40k. As you already know, late last year Games Workshop partnered up with Amazon to produce one or multiple Warhammer live action series, with Henry Cavill at the helm of this extremely expensive undertaking. And since then, they've gone pretty much radio silent on this. No updates whatsoever. Well, for the first time in a long while, there's a new report saying that the project or projects may just all be dead. That Park Place
Insane. And it's probably because why? Henry Cavill wanted to care about the lore and not add female, custodies and shit. What? Half of the Primarchs weren't female? How is that lore accurate? Oh my god, it's probably because of the dumbest crap ever. It is so unbelievably saddening, honestly.
released an article titled "Rumor: Games Workshop and Amazon entirely content to let Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40k live action project die." The information
Amazon's a woke garbage pile of shit. And guess what? Games Workshop is worse.
here comes from another YouTuber called The Archcast, who has connections into the production of this show, providing him with information. And according to what he's saying here, the dream might just be dead. As it is with a lot of announced projects that make you think, wow, there's no way they're actually
Also, it's not Archcast, it's just Arch. I'm pretty sure he just has the second channel.
adapting this. And this seems to be one of those cases where, yes, you were right, there is actually no way they're adapting this. Arch explains that the agreement between Games Workshop and Amazon has turned into a huge mess. He said that in June of 2024, both companies entered what was supposed to be the jumping board that was supposed to skyrocket the franchise into the mainstream. They had an agreement to start production before 2024 would come to an end, but there just wasn't any progress.
Oh god, man, this is just crazy. Yeah, because you just need to stop for a second and think about how wild this is, and it gets even worse, okay? Warhammer 40k is something that probably 80% of the male population of the goddamn world is gonna just gobble up and ask for more. Because a lot of people who know what Warhammer already is have done it. It's awesome, okay? It's completely awesome. It's a franchise that can easily beat Star Wars, Harry Potter. I don't know what would be the third big thing, but it's a thing that can easily defeat most popular things now. Oh, I guess the MC universe, kind of, to a degree. It's kind of dead, but you get the point. Warhammer could be the big thing. It could be a mainstream huge knockout, but no, instead it's not, because, well, everyone who wants tries to do something with this either is an absolute shill or gets shut down by Games Workshop and Amazon because they're not progressive enough. It's so dumb. This could be a franchise that literally dominates the cultural zeitgeist, but instead now,
being made on finding an idea, not to mention any scripts being written or even close to being finalized. At that point, they had three possibilities on how to proceed. The first one was that they would quickly finish a script that would manage to get approved from both sides. The second possibility was that they would expand the deadline until they would manage to find someone who wasn't an incompetent waste of the studio's money, who could actually think of something to do with this IP. And finally, the third option was that the project would just be scrapped entirely, and Amazon would never produce a live-action Warhammer show. But before we continue, a quick word from this video's sponsor. This video has been brought to you by CyberGhost. And now, if you ask me, while I do think getting a Warhammer show or movies would be cool, and it would have the potential to become something really big, at this point, how high are the chances that this actually turns out good? I mean, they've had months at this point to come up with something, and yet they want to tell me that they aren't able to come up with anything of value when it comes to Warhammer? Not a single good idea? They make
blatant lies. Everyone knows that blatant lies. You don't even have to go for a story in the Warhammer universe, 40k or Sigmar. You can just look at the setting and be like, yeah, we can just do a random war siege situation or something like that here, and it's gonna be amazing. Because it would be if you just do it, you know, competently. But no, that's not the point. The point is vanity projects. This Warhammer show, everything that Amazon wants to do with this is a vanity project. They don't want to make money. They just want to spread a political message. That's what this is all about.
Maybe could have argued that with a small IP, or one with no source material to pull ideas from. But they've got freaking Warhammer on their hands. A franchise that's been running for decades, with a huge lore at this point, with countless novels, comics and even video games. And yet they can't come up with anything. I don't know about you, but to me that doesn't sound like they have any plan on what to do. And like the writers that they hired have no idea of the franchise. And maybe I'm wrong.
That's just typical Hollywood nowadays. Hey, here's this franchise that has literally 500 million fans. Now, we want you to not read a single thing of this franchise, about this franchise, or any books or any media about this franchise that these 500 million fans love. You're gonna make something better, okay? Something more progressive.
I would prefer if I am, and they actually can do this justice. But this is Amazon we're talking about. And Rings of Power alone kind of tells you that they already can't get what should be simple right to begin with. And I don't want to see Warhammer going down the same path.
God, this just kills me inside so hard.
But Archcast recently provided a lot more information on the current state of the show. So he said, and I quote, "It has been complete radio silence on the matter of the TV show ever since we had the last update the last time around. It appears as if both Amazon and Games Workshop are entirely content to just let the project die. Even with a 1-month extension into January, nothing seems to have been produced. Still no money is allocated. Still no accounts have been created. Still no contracts have been signed, etc. Henry Cavill's influence is likely extraordinarily limited, if he has any influence in the matter at all at the moment. He doesn't have an employment contract with Amazon or Games Workshop, merely the promise that if the product ever actually goes through, he will have a role in it. Both sides have concessions. The female custodians thing, for example, was almost guaranteed, in my opinion, a move on behalf of Games Workshop to placate Amazon or demonstrate to them what would happen if they were to push for female Space Marines. Massive outcry.
No, Games Workshop has been literally not giving a shit about their fans forever, and you know, they want to push this inclusivity garbage, okay? This was not, oh, Games Workshop wants to show Amazon what's gonna happen if the female custodians become a reality. No. Games Workshop is like, finally, female custodians. The Lost Primarch is literally 5 women, probably, or 100, and it is what it is.
Try that is. And to hammer it home to them that, yeah, this is not going to be a very good idea. Meanwhile, of course, Amazon has their diversity quotas, and they also want the Space Marines. They're not really interested in an Imperial Guard show. I'd reckon because they're not the poster child, even if an Imperial Guard show would be, well, one cheaper.
Yeah, you know what also no one wanted and no one asked for? The Penguin, which is currently literally the best show ever, and it's completely slaying it. Haven't watched episode 4 at the moment, but again, 3 episodes in, loving it, okay? No one asks for the good things that are delivered. No one knows what change means until someone just creates something that you didn't even know you need in your life.
And 2, more easily relatable. They did give Games Workshop the account access, for example, to flag various items on Amazon's websites to take down things that Games Workshop were of the opinion were in violation of their trademark. It may be that Games Workshop got a little bit uppity
Yeah, no shit, because Amazon can't sell knockoffs that are in violation of other places. That's kind of bad. That's kind of illegal.
And decided to demand that their own authors be allowed to create the screenplay. Again, the Black Library authors are excellent book writers, but they have no business in writing screenplays, and Amazon probably knows that, and Amazon probably knows it can't really afford another big flop here. Right now, I would say that
Amazon doesn't care. Again, this is not about money. This is about messaging. This is about virtue signaling. These are vanity projects. Amazon has gotten enough cash in the bank that they can do this, and they're doing this because they don't care about making money. They just want to be political.
the probabilities lean more towards the entire thing being dead than it ever being greenlit. End quote. Okay, Amazon are a bunch of morons. Like many other major companies, they seem to have no idea what potential they've got sitting in front of them. Honestly, they should just hire those Black Library writers, cause even if they're just regular authors of Warhammer books and not screenwriters, at least they know the lore of these stories, worlds and characters. And anything would be better than what Amazon has got right now. They even managed to get Henry Cavill to sign on, and yet they're letting everything go to waste here. A Warhammer cinematic universe that could become the next MCU or Star Wars-like universe if done correctly. And yet Amazon has no idea on how to do it correctly. It's like they're literally being handed a treasure chest full of gold and a key to open it.
It's not that they don't know how to do it correctly. Again, I am fully 100% of the opinion that they don't want to do it correctly. They have no want in doing it correctly. They just care about one thing, and that's representation and being gay and shit.
And yet they don't do it because they're afraid of the risk of hurting themselves while trying to open the chest. It's that pathetic. At this point, I think it would be better for every party involved if Games Workshop would just pack their things, take Henry Cavill, and move to a different place. Make a violent, gritty, and most importantly, accurate adaptation of Warhammer someplace else. Maybe Netflix or HBO Max could do it for them, but they tend to do a lot of the
Is honestly HBO the only thing that can save humanity from all these shitty shows? Kinda, I guess?
Nonsense as well currently, so finding a good place is gonna be a tough nut to crack. But seeing what Amazon did with Rings of Power and what they're demanding once again here with things like the female Space Marines and all the other DEI guidelines they got, Games Workshop would probably be better off if the cooperation with Amazon actually didn't work out in the end. But speaking of Space Marines, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is a huge hit for Saber Interactive, the developers behind the game, selling over 2 million copies right out of the gate. So while the team behind the game has been celebrating their well-deserved win, they also recently spoke to IGN.
2 million copies, way more than Star Wars Outlaws is ever gonna reach.
And threw some much needed shade into the face of the game industry, which was glorious to see. Good. IGN released this article titled Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 dev says big budget games are failing in part because teams are overscoping their projects. Sabers.
Nah, I don't. Yeah, that doesn't sound true. They're not even trying to make games. This is what AAA industry is doing. They're not even making games. A best case scenario, they're copying the copy of the copy of the copy of the copy of a game that they released 10 years ago. Okay, that's the best thing that they are doing. I am 100% done. Anyway, that was Nearly on 10 out of 10. Bye.